So I was in with Mike Pompeo right after he
Mm,
was confirmed over at the seventh floor at CIA in John's former office. So
mm.
I'm sitting there, Thomas, and I sit back in my chair and I look around the room. I look at Mike and I said, Mike, it's good to see you removed all the prayer rugs. And Mike Pompeo gives me that, oh, Tony, don't say that stuff. It's going to get me in trouble look. So it was great. And he didn't deny it. He did not deny it. Just say it. So
Right,
anyway,
right,
but
right.
on to the current the current John Brennan.
Hmm.
Johnny, we hardly knew ye. so so he's by all accounts, he's under a lot of pressure. I think he's going to be indicted. We're going to talk about Tulsi in a bit. But let's talk about you, my friend.
Hmm.
Man, oh man, did you stir up? Tell us just what the conference was about. And you ask a really lucid, clear question that's making the rounds. Robert Gavea had it on. He went through in detailed and kind of showed what you were doing on this. But tell us what was going on. Just give us the
Okay,
30,000 view of
so
this.
this conference came up at George Mason University on my LinkedIn, and it was called the Directors, and it was supposed to be Clapper, Hayden, and Brennan were all going to be there, and I was like, "Holy crap! I can't miss this! Right? This is like too
Yeah.
good to be true, right?" And so, just a rare opportunity to get to shake hands, and just be social with some of these guys. And of course, I had my concerns, and my expectation was that I would have maybe gotten a sidebar conversation with Clapper and Brennan, and hopefully have them together and do what we do, where you can kind of ask a provocative question and maybe get a spontaneous response to try and get at uh, some of these problems that they're dealing with. And I
Yeah.
went as a private citizen, um, and just on my own. And I had a battle buddy was supposed to go with me, but he ended up bailing on me at the last minute. And then Clapper bailed on the event as well. So it was just Hayden and Brennan then at that point. And this other woman it did some stuff with State Department or something like that. But anyway, I didn't really care too much about her. But
Yeah.
um, so then they said we're going to take questions from the audience, and I was like, it. I wasn't intending to ask this question publicly. And Hayden, medic, I think he's getting pretty up there, and I think he's not real. Uh, he's just not as sharp. Let's just say he's not as
Yeah,
sharp as he used to
Hayden and
be.
I know each other. We're not friends. We're not
Yeah,
friends, but yeah, he's getting
he's
up there.
getting up there. He's getting up there in age, and I think that was one of the reasons I really kind of didn't want to ask the question in public, because I felt
Did
like I was kind
well
of putting
what
him on the spot.
well you did, but speaking of that, did you watch you were probably in the moment, but did you watch the body language when you asked that question?
Hmm.
They all kind of perked up.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like, holy
no, I was
cow.
watching. I was
And
watching.
then as soon as John started answering and lying, they
Hmm.
all looked at him like, "What the f are you doing, bud?" I mean,
Yeah,
it was like,
the body
"Halt."
language
So,
was extremely,
yeah.
extremely telling.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and that's why I kind of had to lay out my bona fides a little bit, because I
Yeah,
wanted it
I'm
to
glad you
be
did.
considered a serious question. I
Yeah,
wasn't up there as some kook that's just in there in a conspiracy. They would have been able to just blow me off, see, and I
right.
didn't want to be able to
Exactly.
do that.
Yeah.
And so my first question I felt was a very simple question, and that was, the second intelligence community assessment that was ordered by Obama, and I believe rightfully so. I don't think that Obama maybe directed them to lie, but he said, I want a fulsome assessment. I don't want just a cyber assessment. I want a complete assessment. And that, based on reading the principals committee meeting notes that came out from Tulsi, that's what it looks like was directed. Now, we don't know if there were sidebar conversations, and we don't know if there's other information that they have where he
Probably was.
actually,
There always
I mean,
is,
there
but
always
yes,
are,
it's
there
not
always is.
relevant. Yeah.
And they clearly wouldn't document in the principals committee meeting notes, Obama directed them to make sure the dossier was included. Okay. But so that first question was, why would you include faulty, low credibility HUMINT? Because that's the real question for people like you
Yeah.
and me. The real question is,
Yeah.
why would you deliberately use faulty, low credibility human intelligence reporting that you knew originated with Oppo research from the Democrat Party You knew where it came from. Comey knew,
Yeah.
Clapper knew, Brennan knew. They all knew that was bullshit. And why use that in the ICA to specifically say Putin directed the influence operation and that Putin supported Trump? Because I was in the intel community. I was reading the intel, and the Russians didn't think Trump could win, but they were just going to do as much damage to the country as they possibly could.
They were out to create chaos. Thank you, Thomas. That's all they were going to do. Right.
Correct. And his reaction was, "Who sent you?" Like, that was his question.
That's
so,
the paranoia. Yeah,
that's that clear concern about enemies, which I was asking. I felt a legitimate intelligence question. Intelligence related question. And his body, I've had all these people go, "We're going to bring in some professional body, some body language experts to analyze the body language of Brennan." And I was like, I don't think you need to do that. Anybody can tell that he felt like he was like walking on hot coals when he was getting asked that question. And so, yeah, his reaction was recorded, and it was published by George Mason University. And so, yeah, it's gone viral. It's pretty
so
crazy.
Yeah, and so let's do a little bit of scene setting about kind of where you're at and where I'm at on this. So, look, I've been on the inside too. As I mentioned, I'd go over and brief Tenet. I've been there in the room with them. I've been running around in those circles because of what I did. And there's always sidebars, always. But
Always.
To your point, the notes that Tulsi released had a certain passage from Mike Rogers, the director of NSA, which really kind of outlined, hey, dude, and you and I read bureaucraties, and Mike Rogers was basically saying in this note, dude, you're including some shit like you just said. This stuff shouldn't be in there, and you're relying on this, and there's something wrong.
I think he even took a stronger stance. That's in the emails. That's in the email directly from Mike Rogers to, and people need to understand like how high level that email is, because that's like literally the heads of the entire intelligence community, right?
Yeah.
And Mike Rogers is saying, hey, I'm looking at this, and my analysts at NSA, who these are probably the senior NSA analysts, and they're saying they're not willing to sign off on this ICA because they can't substantiate in SIGINT, because at NSA, it's all SIGINT. We can't substantiate basically anything you're saying about these two things. And he said, and here's the interesting thing too, he says, Tony, he says, I won't sign off on it unless I see personally all of the intel that's going in the sourcing. He says, I want to see it before I sign off on it. And then Clapper comes back and says, hey, this is a team sport. Basically, it's not going to work if you don't sign off on it, and you need to be a team player. And that's some bullshit. And you and I know that would never fly. That would be IG complaint. That would be immediately an IG complaint by any lower analyst, or it should be, that they're trying to falsify intel.
I know, I get it. And so, and by the way, notably, NSA is still a DoD organization, it's not like CIA. But the other thing about that level, to your point, Jim Clapper, I know Jim Clapper. I've worked for Jim Clapper. I've known Jim since I was a very young case officer. I don't know, a lot of people don't know this. I actually went to the farm and became a military case officer with the Air Force as a civilian. And Jimmy Clapper was the 2-star in charge of our Air Force intelligence at the time. He actually, I have a letter that's on X that when he promoted me to GS 12, I guess it was GS 12. Anyway, it's out there. So I know him, and I had to brief him one time when I don't know if you remember in 1995, it was the great hostile takeover of the Department of Defense HUMINT. They pulled all the clandestine HUMINT out of the services into DIA. Big mistake, because we've had to put it all back, just saying.
Right.
I was there with my dear friend, Pat Hughes, who, by the way, passed about 8 months ago. We had his funeral 3 months ago at Arlington. Jimmy Clapper showed up, and I didn't say anything wise ass to him because I respected Pat too much, just saying.
Thank you for watching that clip. If you like that, there's more. Go sign up at ColonelTonyShaffer.com. We have exclusive content. that you can only get if you sign up and become a Sentinel member, Sentinel Circle member. So be sure and join us. We have deep dives. We have great guests, people who will probably surprise you, who's going to show up and talk about everything from 9/11 to the current state of politics and pop culture. So don't walk, run to sign up to ColonelTonyShaffer.com, and you will see and experience our exclusive content. See you there.